This is just a follow on from yesterday's video when I stripped this Td5 R380 down, and I said it was an uneconomic repair. And I'll give you some prices as well, how much this costs. But we should go through the damage. I've cleaned things up a little bit better, and the principal thing that made this a complete write-off was this hole here for the bearing. Now you can't really see it too much. I've tried to clean it up a bit better, but it's gone egg-shaped. If you see where the bearing's been moving in here, well, that's a minute. That's a big problem, because I could get JP to put a bushing in there to put it back to shape, but the problem is we're very close material wise to here. Now, could you weld it up and remachine it? Maybe you could, but get this, and this is really important, and don't start doing this at home. This gearbox assembly, if I get it the right way around, like that. Right, is that the right way around? Yeah. No. Yes, that's it. It's just at a different angle. But this piece and this piece are mated at the factory and line bored. And that means to say they put a special boring machine that bores this bearing diameter and this bearing diameter at the same time in line on the same machine. You should never mix this piece with another piece of this. Even though this bit's good, you need the two pieces together, alright? And that's why we can't put a bushing in it. It's going to be too difficult setup just for this job. So what we really need is a good used casing, and maybe we'd be in with a fighting chance, but this is the problem. You might be able to find a 300 TDI casing, but they're not the same. Because, as I mentioned yesterday, they put a bigger bearing in here, to, I don't know why they put it in, but they put it in. But the thing is, again, if we got a 300 TDI case, which is exactly the same, we'd have to remachine this out to take a bearing, you know, like the 300 TDI casing, and I haven't got any. Problem. Now, I did look on Land Rover's website about these bits and pieces, and the casing was listed at about £560, which isn't too bad considering it's a brand new matched machine casing, but they haven't got any. There's no stock. It lists the price, but it's not available. So now what do we do? So really our options are to get a new gearbox. Maybe not. New gearbox from Land Rover, £7,000 obsolete. You can't buy them. So you're kind of stuck by going to Ashcroft's for a gearbox, because you could take a chance on getting one done from like Britpart or something like that. I don't know who does their boxes, but I'm not really sure about that. But what I did was I put a couple of prices together, and we'll look at some bits and pieces. So for this particular gearbox, the rebuild kit was 300. I will do this in pounds because I got it off their site. So it was £280 for the bearings and needle rollers, whatever it needs. That's 280 quid. The oil feed ring, which goes in here, this thing here. Sometimes I replace them, sometimes I don't. But if I do, that was going to be, oh, I've got all my bill of lading messed up there. That was going to be £34. The oil pump, I can't do anything with that. The oil pump was £48. The lay shaft which is here. Now I've washed this off so you can actually see the damage to the teeth a bit better. Can you see as I rotate that? It was all shiny yesterday and you couldn't see it. That piece is £182. And again, the casing was about 560 quid if you could buy one, but you can't. It comes out to, with all the parts if you could get them, to £1,060 approximately, and you haven't got them here yet. Now this is going to get expensive for this guy, because I priced up on Ashcroft's website for a reconditioned R380 for a Td5 with no exchange, so we've got to pay a core charge and the shipping, and it was £1,515. Now that did include, which I asked for, machining this piece out here, this diameter here, to put a bigger bearing in, because that seems to be the bigger problem. And it's, I don't want to open this one out, but that's the type of bearing it is. It's a little roller bearing, and they put a heavier duty bearing in to keep that shaft just solid, because this is what tricked me yesterday. This is the bearing, but it's split in two. I've never seen that before, and it's rattled around in the casing. So that casing can be remachined at some point, and that's the funniest thing, because the cast iron pieces have to be line bored, but this isn't. Bizarre, I don't know why. What else? What else have we got? Where's my paper? Oh, here. Yeah, so that was it. That's the prices of stuff. It's kind of expensive. Now, the thing is, oh, and I didn't even include this bit. This bit's been chewed up in here. Whether it's detrimental or not, I don't know. So hard to say. But I'd be tempted to put another one on. But again, because it's got the bigger bearing in, it's Td5 only. I don't know. Do you know something? Even if I got that remachined at JP's, there's no way I could guarantee it, because I just do not know if it's going to hold up, especially seeing the condition it came in. I think yesterday also I forgot to show you the drain plug. Somebody mentioned, was it full of oil? I don't know, I thought they might have dropped the oil out, but they didn't seem to have much oil. Now I know we always get furry bits in the magnetic plug, and it's done its job so far, but this is the pickup pipe, the pickup filter for the pickup pipe, if you see what I mean, for the oil pump, and if that's all blocked with materials, it's going to strangle the oil flow to the main shaft, which is over here. So how it works is, oil gets through this little hole here, and it's blocked off at this end, but it can go through all the shaft, and you can see there's a series of holes here which lubricates the bearings, so the shaft is somewhat pressurized. It doesn't get oil splash free from the outside, otherwise the bearings inside can't get any oil. Now this feels okay, it doesn't feel too bad. There's a bit of loose on here, but I think it's been banged around so much that it's knocked the bearing out here. I really don't know, but this is a good spare, but that's about it. You know, there's not a great deal left to replace. There's a few gears, but I have to really inspect all the inside, all the bores of these, because they've got needle bearings, and because the oil was supposed to come through the shaft here, and it's not coming through the shaft because the oil pump's buggered up. We don't know if it's got any metal particles in here that's actually worn this out. So it's going to take a lot of time, and quite frankly, it isn't worth it. It really isn't worth it. There's a few spares, and I might say to the chap, you know, instead of paying me for taking it apart, I'll just keep the bits, and you know, it'll cut his losses a little bit. You know, not unless he wants them, but I can't see what's he going to use them for. And this brings us to another point. I don't mind doing gearboxes and axles and bits and pieces like this, but I don't charge core charges. I ask people to take your box out and send it to me, and so I can assess it before I strip it down. well, whilst I strip it down I can assess it, and this is a prime example, because if I'd have sent out, if I had a Td5 box and I sent it out and I got this one back, I would have to keep the core charge. Now what core charge could I charge? I'd have to charge like $1,500 for a core charge, because I'd then have to import another gearbox from the UK in who knows what condition and rebuild it myself, just for the pieces. You see what I'm trying to say? If I had a Td5 box, sent it out in exchange, and a lot of times people said, oh well, I'm not bothered about that, just keep the core charge. That puts me in a predicament because I can't get all the gearboxes. See what I mean? So although I like doing them, it's just having something to work with that's a problem. It really is. It's a nightmare, isn't it? So that's it. It's going to be an expensive repair whichever way it goes. I think in Canadian dollars I worked it out it was going to be about $3,000 to get an outright box from Ashcroft's. By the time it's in his shop and on the vehicle, well, sort of on the vehicle, I don't know how much they charge for fitting it. But yeah, there you go. It's a nightmare, isn't it? I just wish they'd made these boxes a bit stronger. Apparently, I was reading this morning, this box is, well, I knew it was a derivative of the LT77. But that box, the LT77, started life as a Jaguar gearbox in the 1940s. And the old series gearbox started life in 1932 in the Rover cars. Bloody hell. So everything's just been a variation on the theme. They didn't really change anything. If you want to have a look at something that I was tinkering around with a long time ago to put in my Isuzu truck that's over there, I thought it was out there, but it's over here. I'll show you a gearbox that I was going to fit. This is a GMC box I picked up at the same time as my Isuzu, because the original idea was to fit this to the back of my Isuzu. It's a beast. And this is what the Land Rover should have been fitting. But it's 5-speed with a very low crawler gear in first. It's also got provision for a PTO takeoff. Not that you'd get it in for a prop shaft, but that's it. But the reason why I got it, because I've got the adapter plate here that bolts onto there, the round bit at the back, onto the LT230. I've had that for years. It's a nice little piece of kit, but that was what I was going to use. So there you are, that's a gearbox, isn't it? Just imagine if Land Rover put them all their gearboxes from day one. I bet they were around for a long, long time. I'm not sure what the number is, NV 3500, I really don't know. But if anybody knows, let me know. I'll strip it down one day and clean it up and maybe match it to something else, I'm not sure. I'll see. But it's a hell of a good strong box. You'd go anywhere with that one, wouldn't you? So that's it. I'm going to make a phone call to the customer, Scott, and tell him the bad news and see what he says. Alright, take care. See you later.